In this tutorial, we're going to learn how to create an FAQ bot using the BotCentral platform. This bot will take the user's input, search a knowledge base of responses, and return the results to the bot. If the user asks a question that the bot doesn't know, it'll return an error message. Let's get started. Here we are at the BotCentral dashboard. You can see the different modules available in the BotCentral platform. For the purposes of this tutorial, we'll be focused mainly on the bot builder, the knowledge base, and analytics. The other modules we'll cover in additional tutorials. So why don't we get started with the bot builder? For the current org we're in, the LP bot tutorials, there are no bots in existence, so we're going to make one. So we hover over new bot, and let's create a new bot. I'll give it a name, my FAQ tutorial, and thanks for coming. This is going to be a consumer-facing bot as opposed to an agent advisor, and we'll save it. So when you create a bot, it comes with a handful of default messages. Over here on the left, you can see the various message contained within it. We've got a welcome message, a welcome back message, a default sort of catch-all message for errors, and a help message if someone says help. We're focusing right now on the welcome message. You can see that it has a handful of patterns here that will trigger if someone says hi, hello, or howdy. Here you can see the message tile. We're going to change this to bot response, which means it'll be triggered based on the patterns. This is a static message as opposed to dynamic. We're going to get into dynamic messages shortly. And this is a text tile. There's a number of different tiles, including structured content and button tiles. But right now we're going to focus on text. Here you can see a couple different messages that this tile will display. The more messages you have here, one of them will be selected at random. I'm going to delete these and just keep one. So this bot that we're creating is going to contain FAQs about the BotCentral platform. So this message gives the user a little bit of a heads up on what they should expect and how they should respond to the bot. Over here on the right, you can see a number of different icons available. Tapping on the blue plus sign brings out this panel here, which allows you to add new messages, responders, contexts, and also allows you to import messages as well. Tapping on the chat bubble turns this into a tester where you can actually see I'm getting the welcome message for my bot. If I say hello, it'll trigger that welcome message again, but in this case, it's giving me the welcome back. So here's where you can very quickly test the capability of your bot. We also have a debugger, which will show you all the logs available for your bot. In order to see what's going on for your bot, just type in display user ID. You'll get a unique identifier for this particular instance of the bot. Just copy and paste this into the debugger, and you can see that now you're getting all of the logs that are happening for this bot. This is a great way to catch errors and really see what's going on. If you need to change settings, just tap on the gear icon and you'll get access to all your bot settings as needed. So why don't we check out the content that we're going to be using for this tutorial. As I mentioned, this tutorial content are FAQs related to the BotCentral platform. We've got this content in a Google Sheet right now because it makes it easier to import into the platform. You don't have to use a Google Sheet, but this, as I said, this makes it really easy to pre-populate a knowledge base. The format is really simple. Each article needs an ID, a title. The title is used in the matching process. It helps to have it in the form of an intent, the way that a user would ask for this particular article. Alternates are additional ways that people might ask for this intent. A good rule of thumb is to add 2 or 3 different alternates for every article. The body of the content is in the summary field. A few sentences here is what will be shown to the user for the response. If you want a longer response, you could put that in the detail field, but we're not going to be doing that for the purposes of this tutorial. Tags are a great way to point out the key noun in any intent. For this one, for instance, what is a chatbot? Chatbot is the key noun. You can provide a comma delimited list, but it's better to keep this as tight as possible. Each of these FAQs also has a content link. This URL will show up in the body of the response. There are some additional fields here, but we're not going to be using them in this tutorial. One thing to remember when creating a Google Sheet for import is to check the permissions. This should be set to anyone with a link can view in order to be imported properly into the platform. Let's copy the link of the Google Sheet so we can import it into our platform. In order to import our content, let's go to the knowledge base. Hit the Home button here to return to the Bot Builder dashboard. Use the drop-down to navigate to the knowledge base. Then tap on the Add Knowledge Base button, give it a name, and let's paste in the link to our Google Sheet. Select Add, and our knowledge base is created. You can see that the FAQs have now been imported. I can see the title, the summary, and the tags that are available. To go deeper, I can tap on the link and see the detail for each FAQ. Here I can see the title, the alternates or intent qualifiers, the summary, and the tags. In order to see links and other information, I tap on the advanced settings, and here I can see the content link. I can use the search bar to search for different FAQs. For instance, what's a chatbot? The score here is very good. This is a confidence score based on our NLU algorithms on how good this article matches the user's intent. This could be very good, good, fair plus, or fair. This matched very good based on the title, the intent qualifiers, the summary, and the tags available. Let's try something else. How do I use patterns only scored good? That's still pretty good and will show up for the user. Let's try one more. What are debug messages only returned fair plus for the correct response? This would not show up normally for the user, but we can train it very simply by tapping on the thumbs up button here. Now, when I search again, this comes up as very good. Let's find out what happened. If I scroll down into the advanced settings, I can see the positive learnings that are available. Any training that I've provided for this FAQ will show up here, and here it is. Anything listed here will improve the rating for this article. Let's go back to the bot to see how we can connect this knowledge base to the bot itself. Connecting to a knowledge base is a dynamic function. In order to connect to an API or any sort of dynamic data, I need to create a responder. Currently, there's no responders defined. Let's make one. I'm going to tap on the blue plus, Add a new responder, give it a name. Just like any API, it requires a webhook. We'll use a get method, and there's a handful of parameters that the knowledge base API accepts. One of them is the source. Each knowledge base has its own source ID. You can get it here in the URL of your browser. Copy that and paste it here in the responder. The knowledge base API also accepts a parameter called mode. We're going to use intents. This will use our NLU algorithm in order to determine the best response. Phrases is the intent that you're passing to the knowledge base in order to get a response. We're going to use the query variable here to pass in whatever the user just asked. You can tune the responses of the knowledge base by adding the threshold parameter. We're going to set this to good to keep the quality of our responses high. Now we determine what the response will look like. We're just going to use a text tile for now. The response of our API is JSON, so we're going to use JSON paths to point to the content. Let's see what that looks like. Here you can see the result of our knowledge base API. I asked it a question, how do I use intents? It came back with this particular article. It's showing me all the information contained within this response. The title, the summary, the tags, alternates, the content URL, everything. So we're going to use JSON paths to point to whatever content we'd like to display. We're going to display the summary and the content URL, and that's it. Let's hit save. In order to display our responder, we need to connect it to a message. Let's create one now. We're going to set this to a default search type. What this will do is catch anything the user types in that doesn't match any other patterns that are available. The content type in this case will be dynamic because it's connected to a responder, and we'll link it to our responder. All right, done. Now let's test it. Now our bot is pulling information directly from the knowledge base into our bot. We've got the summary as well as the content link. Let's ask it a few more questions. But what happens if I ask it a question it doesn't know the answer to? If we go into our message here, we can go into the post-process code and add a little JavaScript that will count the number of results, and if it's less than one, provide a message to the user through a send immediate reply. After you've built your bot, you're going to want to check the performance and how the bot's doing. We do that in the analytics portal. All of the bots for this particular org are displayed here. This is the only bot available right now, so let's check it out. The overview screen gives you a high-level view of what's happening in your bot at a glance. You can see that over here we've got a date picker where we can pick some custom sets of dates. You know, we could try the last 30 days, last 7 days, and apply that. We could also just do today and see what's happening there. We also get a high-level view of the intents and unanswered phrases, so we can quickly see what's happening with our knowledge base and what's matching and what's not matching. Here, we have a drill down to different views of the bot's performance. How many users, sessions, messages are being transferred, and the intents. Let's go there. So at a glance, we can see here how many intents were matched, how many were unmatched, and how many were asked. And we call this together the match rate. And if we scroll down here, we can actually see the top matched intents. Here we only have a few. And we can also look at the unmatched phrases here as well. So this is a great way to see how your bot's doing, what's matching, what's not, and where you might actually need to provide a little extra training within the knowledge base. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. We'll be making more in the coming weeks. Thank you.